Warning, F-bombs are armed and might be dropped. So this is the November logout closure video. It's good news and bad news. The good news is during the month of November, Facebook at very least stepped up and said, you know, we've got some issues and we need to deal with them. So good on you. Huh. Miracles do happen. It was in the context of a really bad interrogation by the collie, but he stepped up and said, yeah, there's a problem and I need to deal with it. The bad news. First of all, not only has Twitter not reversed their policies, but YouTube actually doubled down on a bad idea. I was watching a live stream during the DNC debate. Now, the DNC debate is a public matter. All right, it needs to be as public as possible. And this one channel was rebroadcasting the signal and commenting on it as it was going along. And then YouTube shut them down. They just totally shut down the live stream and came that close to shutting down the channel. Not only have they not stopped that, but they've also not stopped this authoritative content that really isn't. All right? I've never met a journalist with a history, engineering, or science degree. That's it. That's the truth. If you don't have at least one of the above, you're not really an authority. Oh, science degree can include a medical degree. I get that. What was the improvement? Nothing. It was exactly the opposite. During the same month of November, rather than reversing a bad policy, they doubled down with a new policy saying that, one, if your channel is not, in YouTube's sole discretion, profitable, they can shut you down. Ooh, that's not good. And two, and this is a big one, if you have any kind of 1920s, 30s German thinking on your channel, you can be shut down, or at least your videos can be removed. I haven't heard of any channels being shut down yet. The problem with that, really all they're doing is removing historic videos. You know, yeah, I get it. Everything under that umbrella from that time period is evil. It's really sick and depraved. And that's the good ones. But if you try to rewrite history, you're trying to repeat it. That's the truth. Accept it, Susan. You are a fascist. You're worse than a fascist. You're trying to make sure that it happens by attempting to erase the past. Just like George Orwell warned us you would. You weren't even born yet. Your parents probably weren't even born when George Orwell warned us that your kind was coming. And here you are, doing exactly what he told us you were going to do. Most people don't realize this, but I have a history degree because I understand history repeats itself. George Santayana was my kind of inspiration to get into history because he said those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. It maybe didn't occur to him that there would be some that would attempt to erase the past and repeat it. Well, Susan, that is exactly what you have done. You did the exact opposite of what you should have been doing. Right? I get the book burnings were a horrible and nasty and disgusting thing. I get that the death camps were a horrible and disgusting and nasty thing, and now you're planning on removing those videos too, so that we forget that 6 million Jews at least were killed, and 4 million others along with them. And the real numbers are closer to 12 million, but whatever. Because you don't like the truth? Well, fuck you. All right? You're a Nazi. Get over it, Susan. Next year's logout is not going to be November. Pending that Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube finally get with the program and realize that the censorship is the fascism, it will be in October. Why October? Because that's what will hurt their pocketbooks the most. They get paid for every minute you watch their website. It's called Eyes on Time. And that is literally what the advertising rate is set by, whether you see the advertising or not. For those of you that think you can get into Facebook through this back door, FB dot something or other, I don't even remember what it is now. Yeah, no, that's not how it works either. They count that time too. Every minute you're watching Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they get something like a 1/1,000,000th of a cent towards advertising revenue. They count all of the minutes you watch and all of the minutes everyone else in the world watches, and that's what they base their advertising demands on. October is the push to the end month. This is when the big money will be rolling in. All right, we're not talking about millions. We're talking about billions of dollars just on the U.S. election. Add in the various Europeans, the Australians, Russians. Russia does have political campaigns. Remember that. It'll be trillions of dollars. And that will hurt them. Even if it's 1 month and a 10-month or 10% reduction in eyes on time globally, that will hurt and they will notice. Now, 10 billion out of 25 trillion, they might not notice that as much. But the shareholders are going to say, wait a second, last October it was, or last presidential season especially, it was another $10 trillion. What happened? That's what I want them asking. And you can't do anything to stop that. All right? Susan, Jack, Mark, there is one thing you can do. End the censorship. Susan, especially, you owe your creators something like $25 billion total. You should have gotten the hint when that one chick went psycho on you and said, hey, unfair demonetization leads to unpleasant results. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Unfortunately, in that case, it was one already kind of borderline case. I don't really think Tim, Daisy, Matt, Lon, the rest of them are going to go that far. This may be somebody who belonged in a jail anyway. But you should have taken the hint from that one thing. Hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. You didn't. And now you're going to make it worse because those people, they have other friends. Not me. All right? None of them like me. One of them is tolerating me barely and has said so out loud. All right? But they have other friends, other creators. Some of them are, I don't know, attorneys. It's not like they don't have any concept of the law. All right? An attorney who represents himself has a fool for a client. Well, don't represent yourself. That's kind of a hint. Yeah, I know he's got friends who are attorneys that aren't going to be affected by the outcome of this case. He's got a lot of friends who are attorneys. Take a hint, Susan. You're the biggest fuck up of them all. At least Jack has the ability, when things really blow up in his face, to say, maybe learn to code. Forcing that rule wasn't such a hot idea. Maybe I should rethink that. Mark is actually starting to get with the program. You know, I've been called in 3 years in a row. I got called in once for a pair of women out of North Carolina I'd never even heard of. Maybe I should start asking my people a few more questions and not just letting them do their thing. All right. When I was a seaman, my captain once asked me what the hell I was doing. And the chief wasn't happy about the situation either, but at least I was fixing my own mess. Mark, your people aren't fixing the mess that they made for you, by the way. Can it be any more clear? Stop the censorship. Pay the money you owe. And obviously the actual hate speech, which means threatening to kill people, that's, you know, I understand when you shut that shit down. But when you shut down 2 women from North Carolina for saying what? That they like Donnie Trump? Well, hell, I support him. I don't like him. I hate his guts. I have since I was 8. Do I look like an 8-year-old? Still support him, and I will still vote for him. And it's not even a pinch my nose and do it this time. It's a, you know, I'm looking forward to it this time. And I'm looking forward to it 4 years after that. Figure your mess out. Stop the censorship. Susan, pay the money you owe. This is part of Mandatory Carry's First Amendment series, not second.